If you enjoy this type of content and would like to see more of it and support the channel, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications. Scary True Urban Exploration Horror Stories. Story 1. The Hospital Basement. Back in college, my friends and I were really into urban exploration. There was this abandoned hospital about 20 minutes outside of town. It was built in the 1950s, shut down in the early 2000s, and left to rot. Of course, we couldn't resist checking it out. The place was massive, 4 stories tall, broken windows, weeds growing through cracks in the pavement. When we went inside, the smell of mold and rust hit us immediately. Paint peeled from the walls, old gurneys sat rusting in the hallways, and the silence was crushing. We explored the upper floors first, just empty patient rooms and old medical equipment, until one of my friends found a stairwell leading down. "Basement," he whispered with a grin. The deeper we went, the colder it got. The walls down there were lined with pipes, and the floor was slick with water. Our flashlights flickered against signs that read "Morgue Gives." I felt my stomach twist, but of course my friends pushed forward. The morgue itself was terrifying. Rusted metal drawers lined the walls, most of them hanging open, the smell of rot still lingering after all these years. That's when we heard it. A bang from the far end of the hallway, then another, like someone was slamming doors shut. We froze. My first thought was security, but the way the sound echoed was wrong. It wasn't steady, it was slow, deliberate, like it was meant for us to hear. Then came the footsteps. Heavy, dragging footsteps approaching from the hallway. We killed our flashlights and crouched in the dark, hearts pounding. The footsteps grew louder, closer, until they stopped just outside the morgue door. And then something whispered, a low, breathy voice, right at the entrance. None of us could make out the words, but it sounded like it was calling us in. That was it. We bolted, ran up the stairs 2 at a time, not looking back until we burst out into the night air. Later, we compared what we heard. Each of us swore the whisper said something different, but in every version the whisper used our names. I never set foot in that hospital again. Story 2. The factory that wasn't empty. This one happened about a year ago. I was doing a solo urban exploration run, something I don't usually recommend. It was an old textile factory on the edge of town, abandoned for decades. The place was a maze of broken machinery, conveyor belts, and shattered windows. The wind howled through the open roof, and pigeons fluttered in and out. Pretty standard, I thought. But then I found a stairwell leading underground. Normally I avoid basements when I'm alone, but curiosity got the better of me. The basement was pitch black, my flashlight barely cutting through the darkness. The deeper I went, the more it smelled like mildew and something else, something foul. The air felt heavy, like the walls themselves were closing in. I reached a corridor lined with doors, most of them bolted shut. At the far end, one was slightly open. I pushed it and stepped inside. That's when I realized I wasn't alone. In the corner of the room, hunched against the wall, was a figure. At first I thought it was a mannequin, or maybe a squatter sleeping, but then it moved. Its head jerked toward me, and I caught the faint reflection of its eyes in my flashlight beam. I stumbled back, heart racing as it slowly stood up. It was taller than any person I'd ever seen, its limbs too long, its movements unnatural. It didn't speak. It just started walking toward me, slow, steady, like it knew I couldn't escape. I bolted out of that basement, nearly tripping on the stairs as I scrambled back into the daylight. I didn't stop running until I was blocks away. The worst part? When I finally calmed down and looked back at my phone, I realized it had been recording video the entire time. When I replayed the footage, I could clearly hear footsteps behind me, chasing me up the stairs.